Have you ever heard a school bell ring in a place that's been dead for decades? Because I have, and I swear something rang it for us. It happened 3 years ago, but I still think about it every time I hear a bell or pass a school. I was 17, just starting that invincible phase where you think nothing bad can ever really happen to you. My friend Marcus had this idea to explore the old Glenridge Elementary before they tore it down. It had been closed since the late 90s after a fire in one of the wings. No fatalities, officially, but local rumors said a kid never made it out. We snuck in just after dusk. The front doors were chained, but the side entrance near the gym was wide open, probably from scrappers or squatters. Inside, the air was thick and stale. You know that scent: old wood, mildew, dust baked into the walls. Like time itself had rotted. Flashlights in hand, we made our way down the main hallway. The walls were peeling, with water stains like bruises spreading from the ceiling. The lockers still had stickers and tape residue on them, some left slightly ajar, their contents long gone. Creepy as hell, Marcus whispered. He wasn't wrong. It felt wrong. Not like haunted house wrong. More like we weren't supposed to be there. As if the school wasn't empty. We got to the central atrium, where the 4 hallways branched off like a cross. There, beneath the faded mural of smiling kids holding hands, I noticed something weird. There were tiny, wet footprints leading down one of the halls. They were fresh, like a child had just run through a puddle and tracked water through the dust. Marcus saw them too. We both looked around, but the building was silent, except for the occasional drip of water echoing from some broken pipe. No wind, no voices, no movement. We told ourselves maybe it was an animal or some condensation leak. We kept moving, just to say we'd seen the whole thing. Then, right as we passed the old principal's office, it happened. The school bell rang. Loud, clear, sharp, just like a real class change. It echoed through the halls, startling a flock of birds from the roof above. I froze. Marcus's flashlight jittered from his shaking hands. "No fucking way," he whispered. We both knew there was no electricity. The entire grid had been shut off years ago. And yet, the bell had rung. Like someone had flipped the switch. We debated running. Honestly, we should have. But stupid curiosity won. We followed the sound down the hallway toward the cafeteria and main stairwell. That's when things got worse. As we passed classroom 2B, I swear I saw movement inside. Just the faintest glimpse, something short, hunched, ducking below the windows. I stopped. Marcus grabbed my arm. "I saw it too," he said. "Someone's in there." We opened the door slowly. The hinges groaned, echoing way too loudly in the quiet. Inside, desks were overturned, and the chalkboard was covered in faint writing, like someone had rubbed out words with their hand, not an eraser. Then I noticed the chalk still sitting on the ledge. It suddenly rolled to the edge on its own, then dropped to the floor with a soft clink. We were done. We ran, down the hallway, past the atrium, and then we both heard it again. The bell. But this time, it didn't stop. It just kept ringing. Not once, not twice. Constantly. Like someone was slamming the old switch over and over again. And then, footsteps. Fast, uneven, slapping down the hall behind us. But they didn't sound adult. They sounded light. Like a child's feet, bare and wet, sprinting across the floor. We turned the last corner, nearing the exit. That's when I looked back. There was a boy, maybe 7 or 8, standing just beyond the last classroom. His skin was pale, almost bluish. His clothes looked soaked, clinging to his thin frame. He didn't move. He just stared, water dripping from his chin to the cracked tile below. And then he smiled. Not like a kid smiles. His mouth stretched too wide, teeth too many. His head tilted slightly. Curious, like he didn't understand what we were. We burst out the door into the night, lungs burning, hearts pounding. The bell finally stopped. We didn't say a word the whole way home. The next day, Marcus went back. I begged him not to, but he said he wanted to get his phone. He dropped it during the run. He promised he'd be in and out in 5 minutes. That was 3 years ago. Marcus never came out. The cops searched the school. Demolition crews dug through the rubble a month later. No body, no phone, no trace. They told me he probably ran off, maybe got hurt in the woods nearby. But I know the truth. I went back once more before the place was flattened. On the blackboard of classroom 2B, something had been written in thick, smeared chalk. "Next bell's for you." And just as I turned to leave, I heard it again. Ding. I never should have gone into that school. And if you ever hear a bell where there shouldn't be one, don't answer it. Would you still unlock a door if the screaming on the other side sounded human, but the room wasn't supposed to exist? I used to be a night janitor at a high school just outside of Pittsburgh, a place called Ridgemont High. It was one of those old red brick schools built in the 50s, with creaky floors and pipes that groaned louder than the students did. I'd worked there almost 10 years, mostly quiet shifts. My job was to sweep the halls, wipe the whiteboards, lock the classrooms, and go home. Nothing exciting. But there's one night I'll never forget, because it still keeps me up. It was early March, cold enough that the windows fogged on the inside. The school was dead quiet after 7 p.m. The main lights were off, and I was walking the second floor, mop cart rolling behind me, keys jangling at my hip. That's when I heard it. A scream. Not loud, muffled, but it was definitely human. A single cry, like someone shouting through a pillow. I stopped, tried to figure out which direction it had come from. It echoed weirdly, but I was pretty sure it came from the east hallway, near the old storage wing that barely anyone used anymore. I started walking that way, slow at first, then faster when I heard it again. It was a boy, screaming, over and over. Help! Help! Let me out! I nearly tripped over my own feet. I radioed the security desk, but no one answered. So I kept going, down the east wing, past the lockers coated in dust and forgotten flyers. Then I saw it. A door, gray metal, narrow, and marked. Detention, room 3C. I stopped cold. That wasn't a real room. There wasn't a room 3C. I'd cleaned this hallway for years. Every classroom was accounted for, 2A through 3B on this floor. 3C had never been here before. But there it was, and someone was inside. The screaming was right behind the door now, raw, panicked. It sounded like a teenage boy banging his fists against the wall, yelling for help, voice cracking. Please, I didn't do anything. Let me out. He's coming. Then silence. Just like that. I fumbled with my key ring, hands shaking. I tried the handle first. It was locked tight. So I tried every master key I had until one finally clicked. The door creaked open. Inside was nothing. The room was pitch dark, completely empty. No desks, no windows, no lights, just bare concrete walls and a strange smell. Something metallic and faintly sweet, like old blood and rotting wood. But no student. I stepped in, flashlight sweeping across the walls. The light flickered for a second, like the battery was dying. And then, the door slammed shut behind me. I spun, hard in my throat. I tried the knob. It was stuck. Then the screaming started again. But it wasn't in the room. It was in the walls. It sounded like the boy was still trapped, inside the building, crying and clawing from somewhere I couldn't reach. His voice echoed all around me, sometimes far, sometimes close, like he was running through the walls themselves. I pounded on the door until my fists hurt. Eventually, it opened on its own, slowly, like someone was letting me out. I didn't look back. I ran straight to the office, called security, and waited outside until someone showed up. The next day, I brought it up to the vice principal, told him about room 3C. He gave me a weird look and said, "There is no room 3C. I asked for the blueprints. I was so shaken I needed proof I wasn't going crazy. He pulled out the old floor plans from a filing cabinet. And sure enough, the east wing ended at room 3B. There was no door where I swore I had seen one. I even walked back there during daylight. Nothing. Just a blank section of wall. Dusty, untouched. No sign a door had ever existed. No marks on the floor. No hinges. No 3C. I quit that job a week later. But here's the thing that still haunts me. Every few months, I get a voicemail on my phone. I pick up and it's silent. But when I play the recording back, I hear something faint, like someone banging on a door, and a voice, raspy, distant, saying, "He's still here." So if you ever hear screaming behind a door that shouldn't exist, ask yourself, what's really trapped in there? And what happens when you open it? Ever feel like you're the one watching, until you realize something's been watching you the whole time? I film urban exploration videos, abandoned buildings, underground tunnels, places forgotten by time. Most of it's just dust, graffiti, and broken glass. But one night at an old high school auditorium made me quit. For good. This was in Ohio, early spring. A storm had knocked out the power grid in the area, which made it perfect for atmosphere. The school was condemned decades ago, built in the late 1940s, and closed after a mysterious fire in the gym. Rumors said people still heard the school bell ring in the dead of night, even though the wiring had been stripped out years ago. Naturally, I brought my camera. I entered through a side door already kicked open, stepped over a pile of collapsed ceiling tiles, and made my way toward the main auditorium. The floor creaked under my boots. Every corner smelled like mildew and ash. When I stepped inside the auditorium, I was hit by this strange stillness, like walking into a sealed room where sound didn't quite move right. My flashlight beam swung across hundreds of empty chairs, long rotted and sun-bleached, facing a cracked stage where the curtains hung like dead skin. I started filming, talking into the mic, cracking a joke about how this was probably where ghost kids held choir practice. Then I panned my light across the back row of seats and stopped. There was someone sitting there. Not a shadow, not a shape, an actual person. Still, upright, looking straight at the stage, almost like a mannequin, except their chest moved slightly with each breath. I froze, whispered, "Hey." No response. The figure didn't twitch. I zoomed in with my lens. The image came into focus. A teenage girl. She looked no older than 16. Pale, hair parted and curled neatly, like a yearbook photo. And she was wearing what looked like an old-fashioned school uniform. Pleated skirt, blazer, necktie. Like something from a 1950s Catholic girls' school. But here's the part that chilled me. Her uniform was spotless. Crisp. Not dusty, not aged. New. I whispered again, louder. "Hey, are you okay?" Still nothing. I stepped toward the row cautiously, keeping the camera running. When I reached the row entrance, I flicked my flashlight toward her face, and that's when she turned her head. Slowly, unnaturally slow. Her eyes didn't look at me. They looked through me. And then she smiled. Only it wasn't like she was happy to see me. It was like she recognized me. My heart started pounding. I stepped back, nearly tripping over a chair. And just like that, she was gone. Gone. 1 second she was there. The next, empty seat. I didn't even blink. I didn't look away. It was like she'd been erased. But the air in that room changed. I swear the temperature dropped 10 degrees. The hairs on my arms stood straight up. And somewhere above me, in the projection booth, I heard a slow, dragging footstep. Then another. I turned and bolted, ran down the main aisle, my boots echoing like gunshots, past peeling posters and collapsed risers. As I hit the lobby, the building let out a groan, like something big shifting above me. A low rumble, almost like a voice trapped in stone. And then, as I pushed open the front doors, the fire alarm went off. The shrill, piercing bell blared through the halls. Only, that building hadn't had power for years. I didn't stop running until I was in my car, miles away. I watched the footage later that night, right before I deleted everything. Because on the video, just before I saw her, you can hear something I didn't notice at the time. A voice, right next to the mic. Soft. Female. It says, "Welcome back." So if you're ever exploring a place that time forgot, ask yourself, what if time didn't forget you?